Bye! My name is Josh Miller. I own Riverstone Kennels, and I've been training gun dogs for more than 16 years. I have field trialed, I've hunt tested, but at the end of the day, I'm a duck hunter. You might find that the duck in our Duck Dogs podcast is spelled uniquely. The UK stands for my British Labs. I love my British Labs. I love what they offer me, both as a part of my family and the high motor in the field. As you're going to find, I have some pretty special dogs. Follow along in our podcast series here as we talk about both in the field hunting and in the field training situations that will hopefully help you progress with your dog at home. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Duck Dogs. I am your host, Josh Miller. And before we get rolling here, as always, let's be sure to thank our sponsors because this show cannot happen without them. So thank you to Eukanuba. Eukanuba is the presenting partner of this show. If you're going to be down at the Delta Waterfowl Expo here next weekend in Little Rock, Arkansas, be sure to stop in and say hi. I will be in the Eukanuba booth. They're a great supporter of ours through and through here. We feed Eukanuba Premium Performance Sport 3020 is the blend of food that we feed. But they have a number of different blends to find whatever fits you. So www.eukanuba.com. Also thank you to Lucky Duck. Lucky Duck is the only 5-star crash test rated kennel both in the intermediate and the large size. So no matter what size your hunting partner is, you can rest assured that you are traveling the safest way possible. So go check out Lucky Duck, www.luckyduck.com. Also, thank you to Gun Dog Supply. Gun Dog Supply is your one-stop shop for all of your hunting and training needs. I know we're already over halfway through the summer here, but be sure to get your hunting supplies early, stock up, prep and train in them. Go check them out, www.gundogsupply.com. Also, thank you to Sitka Gear. Sitka Gear is a premium clothing both for your hunting activities and your everyday endeavors. So go check out the premium line of clothing. I'm wearing it basically head to toe right now. I just absolutely love these products. So www.sitkagear.com. And also thank you to Retriever Roadmap. Retriever Roadmap is your premium online dog training program that will walk you through step-by-step with video-based libraries to help you achieve any goal that you are wanting to achieve with your dog. So we put a lot of time into Retriever Roadmap. So hope you all enjoy it. Hope you become a member, because so many questions that get thrown into my mailbox, Duck Dogs, Instagram feed, they can all be answered and then some on Retriever Roadmap. So go check that out, www.retrieverroadmap.com. So I hope everybody's having a fantastic week. I am. It's been hot here in Wisconsin, and not only hot, but the humidity. The humidity is what just absolutely drags you down. So it's been early mornings, early starts, but it's been great. Our dogs have been doing great. Our clients have been great. It's been really a fun summer. And I have something I want to dig into today. And it really comes down to, I have the luxury at the kennel to see a lot of different dogs, a lot of different personalities. And I understand that gives me a platform to be able to speak maybe a little more broadly about a certain dog's strengths and weakness, because I have things to compare it to. And I want to dig into that a little bit, because at home, although I think there's so many advantages you have about with training your own dog at home, this is one of the disadvantages. And I want to dig into that a little bit, because I have a group of advanced dogs in right now that it's so unique. But I have one dog in particular I want to talk about his journey and why this is so interesting to me. So, but before I dig into that, I want to talk a little bit about breeder shopping. Okay, so if you're going to be in the market for a puppy, if you're going to be looking for a puppy, first off, call us at Riverstone Kennels, because even if you don't go with us, if it's too long of a wait, or maybe outside your price range, whatever it is, you will get a very good idea of the questions you should be asking other breeders, because I just truly believe we're going above and beyond in so many ways here. But it's also heartbreaking to me when we hear stories about these terrible situations, or sick puppies and sick dogs and all this stuff, and it can all be avoided, and just finding the right breeder is so important. But I had an interesting phone call. This was probably 4 or 5 days ago now, where I talked with someone on the phone that wanted to talk about puppies, talk about what they were looking for, what they wanted, right? And this is what we do, so I love these conversations. And this person contradicted himself in almost the same breath. And it's not an uncommon thought, right? But I want to dig into this because it's so interesting to me. So this person, again, looking for place to get a puppy, blah blah blah. Won't get into too many of the details because, of course, these conversations are personal, or personal, I should say. But one thing was very important to this person, which was they didn't want the quote unquote puppy mill. The people that are just producing puppies to produce puppies. And of course, we're far, far, far from that. And so that's what intrigued him on the conversation. It's really my wife, Whitney, is doing the vast majority of the work. These puppies are born in our home. These puppies are, cared for and loved by my, really my daughter a lot, my 3.5-year-old daughter. There's so much care. There's so much that goes into this, right? And so people love that. People love that we're not having, 40 litters, 50 litters a year. People love that. That's all great, right? People respect not only the particulars and why we're breeding, what we're breeding as far as performance, as far as temperament, as far as personality, as far as all these things, health being a huge part of it, but they also appreciate, the health testing and the cost that goes into that and all this stuff. So people love that, right? But then in the same breath, the person follows it up with, okay, so your wait time is 2 years is what you're telling me is my wait time right now. And I was like, yeah, that's what our estimate is right now. And so he said, so if it's more than that, do I get the puppy for free? And I mean, I kind of scratched my head for a second. I said, well, no. And he said, well, I think that's a little ridiculous. I said, I'd love to hear why, why you think that. And I do truly, I truly love to understand, the thoughts that some people have, right? Because this person being a business person, he's going to think in tangible goods like he deals with, so if he orders something overseas in China and it's not here in time, I'm sure there's something, in his world that he gets compensated for missing those timelines. Maybe not, I don't know, but I'm guessing that's where this thought process comes from. And he's like, well, you're quoting me a time. And if I don't get what I pay for in that time, then I should get something in return. I was like, okay, well, here's the deal. The reason that it's an estimate is because I can't tell you when this is going to be done. We're not building a house, right? We have Mother Nature to deal with first and foremost, heat cycles. We have, breedings that don't love that, right? We have litters that, for no reason, all of a sudden, instead of, the 8 to 10 that you're hoping for, you get 3 or 4, right? There's so many things here. And you specifically want a yellow male, right? So I could have 4 all yellow breedings all right in a row. And for whatever reason, of those 30 puppies, there's 28 of them that are females. I can't control that, right? And so, we talked and we ended up having, a good conversation. But what was so interesting to me was the thought that someone's one of their top priorities was having a breeder that they could trust and they could feel the passion was there, and that, not a puppy mill, all these things. But then in the same breath, have it be that it's so much of a transaction. I just really think that society today, right? So like, you want all of your cake and eating it too, right? You want everything that's possible. And as we know, if you follow along with the podcast for any amount of time, that dogs are just not like that. There is no easy button. Animals aren't like that, right? And so it was just so interesting, to me, to have, a conversation like that. And it's I think a lot of it has to do because, although we are, I think, very personable, we keep it very, low scale compared to what we could do, right? We could just pump out a bunch more litters just to meet this demand and try to, keep, flipping paychecks. But we don't. But we also treat it as a business. And I think that's very important, because too many hobbies are treated as hobbies, which is why they never flourish into businesses. And I think anytime people see a business, there's just this temptation to bang my fist on the counter and I want. And so it was just very interesting. Again, conversation ended great, but it's so interesting, isn't it? I find it fascinating, just the way that we as people think. It's so interesting. Which leads me to another phone call, which leads me to where I'm going, with this. Another phone call I had here last week consisted of someone that was purely panicking. Okay, so this person had actually not gotten a puppy from us, had not interacted with me. We get these all the time, which is very, very interesting, to me, that I'll get phone calls out of the blue by no one, or I'm sorry, by someone that I don't know, that will want free time and free advice. Like, there's never a thought of any actual payment going on. And there'll be an hour, 2 hour conversation, and all it is, I want free advice. And it's why I say it's interesting to me is because, I wouldn't call my plumber and ask for, hey, this is what's going on. How do I do it? Tell me where to get the products. Tell me what to get, what not to get. How do I replace it? How do I fix it? Okay, thanks, click. It's a very interesting business that way. But we do it a lot. So, person calls completely panicked. And the reason that he's panicked is because the dog has hit a road bump and he doesn't understand how to get over it. Okay. And when I, listening to him, and I mean, when he's panicked, like, when you just listen to someone on the phone, you can tell that they're just, the way that they talk and the way you can just tell that they're freaked out, right? That was this. And so I don't know if he had literally just got done training or what, but there was something definitely elevating, this conversation. And I literally cut him off very politely and said, man, like, why are you panicking? Like, all dogs have road bumps. And his response to that was, no, he's like, Josh, you don't get it. My dog is super smart. And I'm not chuckling to be rude, but I'm chuckling because don't most all of us think our dogs are smart? Right? Like, all of our dogs probably are smart at different levels, of course, but they are smart. But thinking that your dog is too smart to hit a road bump is completely looking through rose-colored glasses. Like, that is like complete wishful thinking. There is no way that is going to happen. Now, it does challenge you as a handler. And I think what was really going on is he's going, I don't know how to get over this. Retriever roadmap would have helped get him over it. He wouldn't have had to have that phone call. But that's my little shameless pitch for the day. It was really really a task just to get him to chill out on the phone and just calm down. Okay. So I get him calmed down. I talk through it, and just have him understand that every dog is going to go through this. Now, here's where I'm gonna veer off this story and bring you to my present day to day, because I get that it's easier for me to say something like that because I see so many dogs all the time. I see a very different spectrum than someone that is at home with one dog. One dog adds a lot of different feels, right? One dog is, on one hand, way less pressure because you don't have 10 dogs you're trying to get through from start to finish. But on the flip side, it's way more pressure because if you're not successful with this one, then you're kind of SOL, right? Like, what do you do? On one hand, less pressure because there's no timelines. On the other hand, maybe some more pressure because you don't know where you should be in your progressions, right? Because you don't do this every day. The biggest I think point that is a difference between the two is when you just have one dog, it is difficult to know and appreciate these road bumps and how different dogs respond differently to them. So I'm going to give you an example here. So my advanced group right now has a number of different personalities in there. And anytime we train on site, I have a little 4-hole trailer that we pull with her side by side, bouncing around my property, and we can go, wherever we need to go with that side by side and 4-hole. So what I do is I break my group down into groups of 4. And so groups of 4 go out together and we get our work done. Again, when we're trained on site, it's different when we go off site, but on site, that's kind of how we've always done things. And I have one trailer load that is really, really interesting to me. And that trailer load consists of a dog named Blaze, a dog named Jake, a dog named Augie, and a dog named Monty. Okay. Now these 4 dogs are all puppies from us at Riverstone Kennels. All of these puppies were bred very differently. So just because you get a puppy from us doesn't mean that they're all, we're all going for exactly the same thing. Okay. So Blaze was bred with a high purpose, high motor, high ceiling in mind. Okay. Jake was bred, I'd say, a little bit more in between. His owners needed a dog that was going to be chill the majority of the time. Owner's a mechanic, owns a big mechanic shop. The dog literally is probably in that mechanic office more than he's anywhere else. Big time in the house, hunts 8 to 10 times a year, right? Like, but very nice dog. Like, I really, really like this dog. Going through his handling great, big motor, big intelligence, everything you'd want, right? Augie was, I think, a between Blaze and Jake breeding kind of in mind, where a little more on the top end, but not the race car, right? So Augie's owner, great guy, single guy, lives on the lake, does a lot with the dog, does a lot of work with the dog. Although he's new to the work, he is involved and wants to be involved. And so he's learning. This was his first gun dog. Okay, so one of the many reasons not to give him the race car, right? Because you give a race car to a first-time driver, he's probably going to crash, and when he crashes a race car, it's probably not going to feel good, right? So let's give him something he can go be very successful with and bring him up, but at the same time, not too much, right? Not the fire-breathing dragon. So, and Augie's just that, like those 3, like, it's really cool. Monty is different. So Monty's owner is a very chill, very calm, very soft guy. He's one of the kindest people that you'd meet. Loves fishing. hunts a handful of times a year, and he didn't want that dog that was going to be go, 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 go. The only reason Monty's even in this advanced class, which he never had intended, is because Monty has just continued to clip forward. He has never got hung up to where I'm like, gosh, yeah, he's done. He's just, this is as far as we should take him. And his owners just love the process so much that he just kept him going. And so it's been really interesting. So here's what's interesting about this class. So with those three, so with Blaze, with Jake, with Augie, those three dogs have the entire summer gone so fast through everything. They've picked up everything super quick. They've retained everything that they have learned. They have clipped through things at a very, very, very fast pace. So we introduce whistle sets. We introduce three-way casting. We introduce I'm just kind of in my trying to be very brief in what we're going through here. Whistle stops, while moving, on a recall. Then we get into our pile work and our sends, teaching them to send on back. Then we start doing pile work, start teaching them to run lines. Then we start moving into 5-point, teaching point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4, point 5. Then we start running 5-point in every which way. Then with mowed lanes, then we take the lanes away. Okay, so that's where I'm going to stop. So all of that is very time consuming. Takes time to get all that done. But those three dogs flew through it. Monty didn't. Monty, just like he always has, when he gets to something new, he struggles with it for a little bit, overcomes it, gets over it, moves on. And when I say for a little bit, like it might take him 2-3 days of struggling before it clicks and he gets over it, right? But once he's got it, he's got it. So he's been a little behind the rest of this trailer load the whole time, right? Not crazy behind, but always like that, maybe like weekish, behind is what it always feels like. So every time we took another step, those two dogs would fly through it, act like they'd known it their whole life. They haven't, but they would act like it. Monty would be a little confused at first, overcome, get over it, move on, every single step. When we got to the point that we went from running our 5-point drill, if you don't know what 5-point is, go become a Retriever Roadmap member. It is the best lining drill that we have. Or it's my favorite. There's a lot of them that are good. It's my favorite lining drill. I really, really enjoy that drill. But we start with our mowed lanes. If you have the access to it, we do. So we mow the lanes, get that good muscle memory of running, straight lines, boom, 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 boom. All 4 of these dogs are running this drill. Okay. I mow everything down. So now you don't have the lanes anymore, but we're in the same exact spot. We're still using memory piles. We're still going to those piles. Okay. It was unbelievable because everyone struggled the first day, right? You'd expect it. I just went from running down the sidewalk to now all of a sudden the sidewalk's not there. Now where do I go? Right? So I knew it was going to happen. That's okay. We'll take some time. We'll reteach a little bit. It should be very quick when we're through it. Here's what was so interesting to me. The 3 dogs that had flown through everything, it was like they were wide-eyed. They were flustered. They were like, what in the world is going on here? And they got overwhelmed. And I think a big part of this is that they hadn't had the big adversity. They hadn't had any adversity yet. And now they hit a road bump, and they're hitting this road bump going 100 miles an hour. Guess who went through that really smoothly? Monty. The dog that at every step of the way had to overcome, at least to an extent, some adversity. He had to struggle at least a little bit at every single step. So when he got to this step, where everybody else had a major breakdown, he's like, okay, I'm going to struggle with this. Boss is going to teach me how to do this. We get over it. We keep moving. It was unbelievable. Before I mowed those lanes, you'd have looked at all those dogs and been like, yeah, like, Monty's nice, but these other dogs are faster, they're flashier, they are more confident, they're like all the things that you would look for, right? If you would have literally come the very next day, you would have been like, gosh, like give me Monty. If I had to pick one of these four, like these other four might not even know their name the way they're acting, right? Now, give it a week. They're all great. They're all doing everything. But here's the point: is that I think the big challenge that I'm going to leave you guys with this week is learning to learn with your dog. What I mean by that is that in this situation, if you were at home and you just own Monty, you may have been frustrated the whole process, right? Like, gosh, every single time we have to take another step, there's a little bit of a struggle. Every time, it's so frustrating. I'm not as far along as my buddy Billy. I'm lagging behind. I'm not gonna make my goal. I'm not gonna hit this timeline. I'm not gonna do this stuff, right? But you never would have seen what happened with the other dogs, right? And if you would have owned the other dogs, like let's just use Blaze for example, you'd have been so overly confident and so sure of yourself, and then you hit this road bump and your dog's looking at you like all of a sudden you're speaking Spanish, and you'd be going, whoa, what do I do? Because at this point, if he's your only dog and your only dog you're working with, guess what? You haven't had to get over any major adversity either. So you as a handler, just like the dog is not prepared for this, you as the handler are not prepared for this either. Fortunately, in my situation, we've been through this hundreds of times. I know how to redirect. We get over it, great, everybody's happy, we move on, and actually everyone's running basic cold blinds right now. Everybody's been a success. Awesome. Okay, but here's the crazy part. I keep going back to that phone call, and I keep going back to that moment in the summer that I can reflect back to and going, oh my gosh, I have here 4 dogs that if they were the only dogs at home and you were the owner, like you would be thinking differently for each one of these dogs. And what would my mindset have been if I didn't have this experience and I just had one of these dogs and this is what they did? It's so interesting to me. Now, if you find yourself in the situation where you're a newer trainer, you have 1 dog, maybe 2 dogs at home, right? You are likely going to find yourself in this. The biggest advice I can give you, because I can't shake the crystal ball and tell you what the hurdle is going to be, or when you hit there, this is how you overcompensate, or when your dog looks at you completely confused, you just do this. I can't tell you that. That comes from the experience. But what I can tell you is the biggest way to get to a point that you are going to shut your dog down is you panic. If you panic, you get frustrated, you let your emotion get the best of you, that's how your dog's going to go, whoa. Think of it as a coach. You get in a big moment of the game and you're not sure if you're going to make this work, and you're not sure if you can reach the end zone from here, and you're not. If your coach comes in that huddle and goes, gosh, like I don't know, you guys, like what do you guys think, because I really don't. Well, you've already lost. If you have a coach that comes in there and goes, guys, I got this, this is what's going to happen, it's going to work, we're going to go do this, all of a sudden you as a team, you start feeling like, okay, we got this. Okay? Learn to learn with your dog. Go at your dog's pace. I say this all the time, but it boggles my mind how it is not understood. And maybe there's a better way of saying this that I haven't found, but going at your dog's pace is a serious thing. There is no cookie cutter. There is no easy button. But if you learn to learn with your dog, it can be very, very helpful. You have a dog that goes slow, great. Learn to move slow with him. You have a dog that moves really fast, that's great. But keep your guard up for those road bumps, because you just don't want that impact to hurt. right? Of course, I'm using hurt as a analogy here. It won't actually hurt, but you understand the idea. Very, very interesting to me. This is where I would really urge you, get with a training group, get with friends, because it's not a comparison thing, but I think you can learn just as much by watching other people and other people's dogs as you can working with your own, because it gives you different perspective and it gives you different ideas and also gives you a measuring stick. Again, if you compare strictly keeping up with the Joneses thing, you are going to get frustrated. But if you go at the right pace, and if you use that aid, those other people, as ways that I can better myself, ways that I can better my dog, I want to see how other people handle adversity, I want to see what other people struggle with, I want to see what other people are successful with, it will come through tenfold. I'm not saying go out and buy 10 dogs. Actually, go ahead, do it. That'd be awesome. But you don't need to. Find a good group of people. I have the advantage of seeing a lot of dogs. Find a way to give yourself that advantage if you want to be the best handler that you can be. Kind of a neat thing. I keep going back to that call, and I keep going back to those 4. That is such a cool thing that I get to reflect back on. Been a fun summer. Anyway, hope you guys have a great rest of the week. I can't believe we're almost coming to the end of July already. It's absolutely crazy. We're going to be talking hunting before you know it. So again, if you are in the Little Rock, Arkansas area, come check the Delta Waterfowl Expo out here next weekend. I will be in the Eukanuba booth. I'll be giving seminars. Come down, say hi. Would love to meet anyone and everyone in person. And if you're not in the area, don't worry, because we have Game Fair and we have Wisconsin Waterfowl. And we have other shows here coming up. So it's going to be a busy August, which then leads into Dove Opener in Kansas, Teal Opener in Texas. There's a lot of fun stuff coming on. So stick with it here. Season will be here very, very quickly. So hammer down on that training. Hope all's all well, and hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Leave us a review on iTunes, and a special thank you to Eukanuba, because without them, we couldn't do what we do here, bringing this information to you.